In the last video, we talked about this coming purge, this Pareto 80-20 purge, and the impact that it is going to have on employment in the United States and really around the world. These dynamics are going to happen everywhere. The question then becomes, what do we do, which is individually you have a responsibility to adapt. But governments are also going to have to step up to the plate and contend with the disruption to the lives that we've known for centuries. The way that we have gone about organizing ourselves in work and the whole model of work is being turned upside down. I believe it is going to be inevitable that we are going to need to implement a universal basic income for everyone who needs it at a minimum. And here's why. If my prediction holds true and we do end up slashing many industry headcounts by up to 80%, in some it's going to be much, much worse. We are going to have tens of millions, if not more, unemployed people, adults. The young among them, their overhead is typically low enough. They typically don't have the burden of the financial responsibilities of taking care of families and mortgages and all of that. So I'm less worried about them, although, and I think younger people are still in a relatively flexible mode. And I think we'll be able to contend with this change in a relatively effective way. Older people, it's going to be a completely different story. If we have tens of millions of unemployed middle-aged people, the retraining that is required to get them back into the job market is the first order of business. But what roles are we retraining them for? We have played 52-card pickup, or we're in the process of playing 52-card pickup with every industry in our country. And the roles that are disappearing may never, ever appear again in any other industry. So what future are we training people for? I don't think anyone really knows. I think this tsunami has a mind of its own, and I think we're kind of holding on for dear life and really keeping our fingers crossed that we're going to be able to probably leverage the resources of AI to help us solve our way out of this challenge. But I know that we're going to have to put money into the hands of all these folks who just are going to be out of work. The recipe for civil unrest is to have people starting to go hungry and not to be able to pay their bills. And I don't know what that annual amount will be, but it will need to be sufficient to the minimum requirements for survival. A roof over your head, some food in your belly. And beyond that, I think it's going to be everyone's individual responsibility to kind of figure out how to augment that basic income. I don't think we're going to be in a place where everyone just gets paid to sit at home and play their guitar. I think that instead we're going to need to augment this universal basic income, which I don't think is going to be really generous. It'll just meet the bare necessities. We're going to need to augment it with our own productivity and our own supplemental income. I don't know what that's going to look like. For me, it will continue to be trying to use AI and in combination with my skills and experience to create kind of a hybrid offering that's going to be my value for as long as it can be. Trying to systematize the technology in a way that benefits clients, developing agents, developing implementations for clients, inventing new products, inventing new technology. I don't know. I really don't know. When I think, my basic skill set involves music, and there's some really impressive music composition tools that are coming up. My skill includes writing. Boy, there's some AI writing that I wish I could take credit for the quality of it, and I'm a decent writer. There really aren't many skills that I have in my toolbox that I have not already been meaningfully humbled by the output of an AI assigned to complete a similar task. It is such a lever, and it is so good now, and I think it isn't even beginning to walk. This thing is still crawling. We are so early in the game. But I don't know what we're going to do, in the future of employment, but being productive with a lot of free time is a real challenge. It really is. And most people, probably 90% of people, work for someone else. Only 10% of the population is really self-employed. And as that 90%, most people are accustomed to being told roughly where to be, when to be there, what to do, how to do it. And when, say you've had a working life of that kind of environment, and then all of a sudden you're like, not only don't I have a job, I have all this time on my hands, and no one is telling me how to make productive use of it. And I've never had this much time on my hands, and I've never had to solve this problem of what to do with it. That's going to be very, very stressful. I can tell you that you can only play and F around so much before that gets old too. Trust me. We're going to have to find a way to create new meaning in our lives when all of this space opens up. And I hear a lot of people theorizing it'll free us up to do all these wonderfully creative things and magnanimous gestures and solve all these problems. And yeah, in some measure, but humans are still going to be humans. Selfish, self-involved, me first. Yes, we will still retain some of our better angels and use the technology to solve some meaningful problems that we otherwise weren't able to before AI. But we're going to have to kind of reimagine the way we make meaning in the world. So much of our meaning is often made by work and how we identify ourselves with our work and our role as providers and value generators for our families and for our companies and clients. I don't know. I'm really interested to hear what you think the future of employment is going to look like. I'm very interested to hear you talk about in the comments what this universal basic income, A, is it going to be a necessity as I believe it will be? And B, is it going to be enough? And if it isn't enough, what are people going to do in the future of work? Let me know what you think. Peace.